Hello, thanks for watching another episode of Willow Talk on YouTube. Adam Peacock here. Brad Haddin will join me to review everything that happened in that first test. Big win for Australia over the Kiwis in Wellington. We'll got our risers and fallers and have a look at who would be the nightmare scenario to play park cricket against. And Hads has got reports of a disturbing incident in a local junior game. A man-cad. Hads, not happy. Thanks for watching again here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Here it is, Willow Talk. Hello and welcome to Willow Talk for another week. Adam Peacock here with Brad Haddin. And Hads, how good's beating New Zealand at anything?
You know what, Adam? I am that happy. I've been there for the test match. I've witnessed how good the Australians were. I've had to come home for a couple of days just to detox and get over my excitement because you know what? I couldn't be this excited in New Zealand by myself for 4 days. One, I don't think I would have got out alive if anyone's seen me walking down the street, but I was singing the gospel of how well the Aussies played.
Yeah, you would have been like one of those villains in Lord of the Rings. You would have just disappeared off the face of the earth. So that would have been the end of Hads, and we would have had to have another permanent co-host on Willow Talk. But no, it was good to hear your commentary and insights as well. And I think it was well received from the neutrals over there, of which there are a few. But no, it was good stuff, Hads. And on this episode of Willow Talk, we're going to review the first test between Australia and New Zealand, take a look at the domestic cricket around the country. Bits happening, and a bit is happening as we sit here and record this episode. And we're going to finish with our risers and fallers. What would you put your Kiwi customs experience in, Hads? A riser or a faller? Were you well received as soon as you stepped on terra firma over there?
I was definitely noticed. No, I got in. Coming. Yeah, I got in late at night, so I was able to get ushered into a car quick. But my first experience the next morning, I went for a coffee just by myself, went for a quick walk. And a guy came up to me in an All Blacks jumper. I thought, this is going to end bad. He goes, I love the way the Aussies play. And I went, yeah, and he just walked away.
That's a riser.
That was definitely a riser. I was petrified. He was twice the size of me. I thought, this is not going to start well.
Could have ended right there and there. Now, before we get stuck into things, we need a favour from our listeners. The summer of cricket is almost over, so we'd love to get your feedback on how Willow Talk is doing, has done, and where it's going. So we've put together a quick survey, and we're asking you, if you could, to fill it out for us, if possible. The link is in the episode notes. It only takes a couple of minutes, and by filling it out, you go into the draw to win a $100 gift e-card or e-gift card. However you put it, it's $100 in your wallet and you can spend it how you want to, basically. We've loved bringing you Willow Talk. We want to get it better. So, Hads, one of the questions we're going to ask our listeners in this said survey is a dream guest you'd love us to have on Willow Talk. Have you got one of those?
A dream guest? I'll tell you what, I'd like to bring Keith Miller back, actually. I reckon I reckon he would be outstanding. Not only the way he played the game, but his after-hours activities. He said, I didn't feel nervous playing cricket. I was flying fighter jets. That's nerve-wracking. So Keith Miller would be one I'd like to bring back. But let me see.
I've got one, Hads. What do you think?
Oh, no. Go.
I've got one I'd absolutely love to have on. Like Ben Stokes is out of reach. That ain't happening.
Why not?
Brendan McCullum.
Baz would be good. Baz would be a good one.
Love to get inside his head about how he's trying to change how Test cricket is perceived around the world and played and thought of from not only those watching, but those inside that England dressing room. And also to ask him about his battles with you. That'd be awesome.
What about Virat Kohli?
We'd do well on socials in the Indian market, I dare say. On the subcontinent, yes, that would be a good guest. You any chance?
The other one would be Yuvraj Singh. He's got a great story, the way he played. He got sick. He was out of the game. He fought cancer for a while. He came back and played in a World Cup. He's been player of the tournaments in 2020 World Cups, 50 over World Cup. He's got a great take on the game. So Yuvraj Singh would be a good one too.
Well, guess what, big fella? One of us is going to the IPL and one of us is not. So it's over to you with those two. I'll work on Baz. I'll work on B. McCullum. You work on those two, okay?
Sounds good.
and we'll have plenty of requests from our listeners, I dare say. So we'll hand those straight to producer Sam, and he can handle those ones. He's our guest booker, if you like. So all the best, Sammy. All the best when hundreds ask for, I don't know, Sachin Tendulkar or something. Yeah, Australia, New Zealand, first test, Wellington Basin Reserve, which turned into it was a Bunsen burner, the pitch. It was extraordinary. And New Zealand have said that, yeah, maybe we stuffed that up with our team selection. But overall, Hads, would it have really mattered? Because there seemed to be, with bat, with ball and in field, a class discrepancy between the two sides.
Yeah, I don't think the surface would have made a difference at all, if I'm honest, Adam. I thought the surface was different to what I expected it to be. It had quite a lot of bounce. It was green day one, what the Aussies expected. There's a bit of sideways movement, but the one thing it did do, it turned a lot more than people thought. So Nathan Lyon was obviously the thorn in New Zealand's side again, but Cameron Green's knock, he's double for the game, 174. Not out 36, but yeah, I just think the Kiwis don't quite believe that they can beat the Aussies.
We'll get to that in a moment, but on Cam Green, okay, what did you notice? Because he's really worked hard at his craft with bat in hand over the last 6 months. You noticed that white ball cricket wasn't a priority. He goes back and plays Shield, spent a lot of time in the nets during the summer. So what did you notice about technique, mindset? I don't know. Pluck something for us here, Hads.
I'll tell you what I will pluck, and this will be quite a long answer. Cameron Green's preparation. The selectors and Andrew McDonald have to take a lot of credit for this because they decided to take him out of the white ball series at the 2020 against New Zealand. They recognised with such a young player in a high pressure position at number 4, which is a new role for him, flipping formats at this stage was against what was working for his game. So they made a decision to let him stay back, play the Shield game against Tassie. He got 103 not out. And I tell you what, he was a different player in this test match. He started a bit scratchy at the wicket, as most batters did. There's a lot of life in the surface. And then when Mitchell Marsh came in, the tempo of the game changed. And all of a sudden, Cameron Green's rhythm looked outstanding. His feet were moving. He's using the depth of the crease well. And he looked in control. On a surface where the next top score was 40, his knock was outstanding. And you talk about landmark moments for any players. And you go through all the great players. They say, oh, I really thought I belonged after this century or this bowling performance. And I think this will go down as the moment Cameron Green believes he should be number 4 for Australia.
So when you say that preparation worked so well, take us behind the scenes. What were they asking of him, not just in middle practice, if you want to call a Shield game practice, but in the nets where he spent a lot of time and facing, I dare say, that dog chucker would have been getting a fair workout from the coaching staff. What exactly goes on for a preparation like that?
Yeah, well, it's different templates for different players. You see the senior players now, they can go in and out of formats and it's quite seamless. But Cameron Green's still learning his craft. He's in a high-pressure position now at number 4. He's not at number 6. We demand a lot of our number 4 batsmen in Australia. And what they realise is he needs to concentrate on one form of the game more. So they allowed him to play that Shield game. He didn't have to chop and change formats and different preparation. They allowed him to concentrate on one format. And I think we've seen the benefit of it this test match. And it's a really smart decision from the selectors as well, because they've invested a lot of time into Cameron Green. They put him in this position. And for him to go away and work out what's the best for this kid, it mightn't be the best for the Australian whiteboard team because he's been in all 3 forms of the game, but what's best for Cameron Green to feel most comfortable at number 4 in the test team. And that's exactly what we got this test match. We got a young man that looked comfortable. He was very brutal on anything short, as you expect from anyone from the West. But the thing about it, he's a quick learner. And I think what they've realised is at the moment, flipping those formats is just not working for him. So they gave him the best chance to succeed in this test series, and they got the reward.
So with his schedule going forward, there's 2 huge summers coming up.
Yep.
For Australia. And Cameron Green at 4 looks to be a position that he needs to nail down, because if he is, Australia become a totally different beast in terms of team selection. You can move things around a bit with a guy that can bowl, 30, 40 overs in a test match and bat at 4 and do what he's doing. So would you say, okay, India next summer, England the summer after, September, October, Shield for Cameron Green? Don't worry too much about any white ball tours that might be going on. I don't know the exact schedule. There's a Champions Trophy chucked in there somewhere. But, I mean, are you saying prep like you've prepped for this to get it right for the next 2 summers? You could become a legend.
Well, what will happen now is the staff will go away and they'll start to gather more information on what's the best prep for Cameron Green. And if you look at the next summer, it's 5 test match series against India, and that's going to be draining physically, but it's also going to be draining mentally for someone like Cameron Green, who's so young in a high pressure position. So maybe you look at the T20 and one-day series against Pakistan to say, you know what, you had that off. We're not resting you from that series. We're going to allow you to go play some red ball cricket, get that rhythm of that format leading into this Australian summer with the 5 test matches, because what we've seen, he was a different player this test match, not having to worry about getting ready for other forms of the game. In time, that'll change. He'll become a senior player. He'll understand how to switch different switches in different forms of the game. But I think what we've found at this young age, and we've got a lot of all-rounders in and around that white ball, so you don't need to rush him into that game. So what they will do, they'll get all this information now, and I'd imagine their preparation now, the conversations will be around making sure he plays enough 4-day cricket, red ball cricket, leading in to the Indian test match.
Yep. Well, just looking at the schedule, in September of 2024, Australia tour England for some T20s and 1 day. So that could be a little inkling, depending on what they do with the selection of Cameron Green or non-selection, about where his priorities exactly lie. The Willow Talk research team investigated how many batters had 2 test hundreds at 24 or younger. There was a stack of them. There's heaps. Sachin Tendulkar just had the lazy 10 before 24, but Cam Green going in the right direction, which is great to see. A player at the other end of his career, Hads, who was a standout performer over there, Nathan Lyon. The conditions, he could get the most out of them, and he did with his 10 wickets. Interestingly enough, Mitch Starc, barely a wicket. I think 1 wicket. Paddy Cummins, 1 wicket for the match as well. So it was Nathan and the Josh Hazlewood chipping in. It was good to have that difference of reliance, if you want to put it that way. But Nathan now moved to 7th on the all-time most test wickets, past Courtney Walsh. He now has a 5-wicket haul in 9 different countries, equal most alongside Warne and Murali. Only place he's failed to pick up a 5 for is the UAE. Extraordinary. He's kind of lit it up again, Nathan Lyon, turning it back a bit. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what was interesting about this surface. New Zealand won the toss and had a green tinge, and there's a lot of side movement. There's a lot of bounce from the fast bowlers. And I remember doing the pre-game show over there with Craig McMillan and Mark Richardson, and everyone's talking about, the fast bowler's going to be hard work. And I kept saying, what about Nathan Lyon? What about Nathan Lyon? He's the most important bowler in this bowling attack. He allows the fast bowlers to control one end. He can hold one end up, whether it's windy, dry, bouncing, seaming. He can play all roles now, but if it seams, it spins. And Nathan Lyon was just a class above. Every ball he bowled in this test match looked like an event. You've seen Glenn Phillips, who's a part-time spinner, get a lot of turn and bounce. And I remember thinking they are not going to be able to play Nathan Lyon. And there was a plan before the test match. We're going to go hard at Nathan Lyon. Well, that worked. He went at 5 and over. Congratulations, New Zealand. But he took 4 wickets in the first and 6 in the second. So he was a difference in the test match. He tied up one end. As I said, every ball was an event.
With conditions like that, like when is New Zealand, quite obviously, and that they admitted after it, maybe we should have gone down the path of a full-time spinner. Glenn Phillips as good a job as he tried to do. What's it like in a dressing room when you know your selection is not where it needs to be for the match? You know the conditions have turned out something other than what you thought it would be.
You can't blame the selections for New Zealand. They're in a position.
I'm not blaming the selections. I'm just asking you what it's like. Have you been in the situation of sitting there going, oh no, we really need something that we don't have right now?
Well, you only do that when you're behind in the game. The only time you second guess that. And New Zealand said after the Test match, maybe we got that wrong. Well, no, you didn't. You didn't get that wrong. You won the toss and you bowled on a green surface. You had Australia in a position where you could drive the game, and you allowed Cameron Green and Josh Hazlewood to bat a whole session.
Yeah,
come on. Spinner wouldn't have made a difference there.
What did you think about 75 minutes into that session, Hads? What were you doing?
Couldn't stop laughing. Could not stop laughing. I tell you what, it was an interesting scenario. Josh Hazlewood hasn't played that well with the bat for some time now, and you could just see that the tactics of the New Zealand team totally changed. They were really good with the ball in that first innings. That they got the ball probably after the first session. That they won the second and the third. They got the ball nice and full. They challenged both sides of the bat. They were in the game. But as soon as Hazlewood came in, all of a sudden they went in outfields, making sure Cameron Green could only face so many balls, and they bring the field back in. What they forgot about was what was working. Hit the top of off stump, use your bouncer when you needed to, because there's enough in this surface. So they were taking catches out, they're putting men on the boundary, and they're coming in for the last two balls, bowling a short ball. Cameron Green realised what they were doing after 3 overs, and he just hit 6 for the last two balls of each over. So, yeah, New Zealand talk a lot about what their tactics, what their selection were, but they got their tactics wrong in this Test match.
And skill level a little down. I mean, you compare the two teams fielding again. I mean, we look at it. We keep on bringing this up with when it really, really matters, and it seemed like it really mattered in this game.
Well, it's been on New Zealand like, actually. New Zealand pride themselves on doing all the little things better than other teams. And they've done that for forever and a day. They compete on every play. They field well. They do all those little things in games, running between wickets. We'll get to that. But, they catch well. But we've seen a bit of that during the 2020 series where they were in most contests, but it wasn't the bat or the ball or selections that didn't allow them to win matches. It was their catching.
And as you say, running between the wickets, a pretty huge moment in that first innings. So I likened it to two blokes who were trying to get away from security in a pub when they were wasted. And, they end up making a hash of things and both getting chucked out. It was pretty embarrassing. What was the vibe like from the locals when that went down? Because that was as bad as it gets in more ways than one.
Yeah, I think they were in shock. And that sort of summed up what had happened that day. There was that partnership of Hazlewood and Green who bat the whole session, where it just sort of deflated the New Zealand team. And to see Kane Williamson run out in that fashion for a duck, yeah, it was a pretty quiet commentary box and a pretty quiet base and reserve. But I tell you where credit needs to go there, Adam, is Kane Williamson's one of the world's best batters. He dominated the last couple of series. I think he had 400s in a row, something ridiculous. But you got to be on your game and take half chances when they come up. Mm-hmm. And when he's hit that ball to mid-off, you had Paddy Cummins from mid-on flying around trying to get himself into the play to make a difference. Marnus, as you know, is a whippet at mid-off, and he's crept in. Beautiful slide. He threw on his knees. And we talk about the run out and the collision, but what we missed is the athleticism of the Australians and the awareness to put themselves in that position early in an innings to make life uncomfortable for Kane Williamson to get off the mark. They're the things you talk about in team meetings. Make it uncomfortable when he comes out. Don't let him get that first run under his belt. All of a sudden he relaxes, he controls the tempo. So the Australians were spot on with their preparation and their intent to get rid of Williamson.
The research team did find something with Kane Williamson. It is out there. It is a known. It's not an unknown, but just to reiterate, Kane Williamson averages 36.85 against England, just over 37 against Australia, and just under 38 against India. So the big three, under 40, averages 60 plus against all other nations. Is that a bit of a guide to how good he actually is?
Well, he'd know that. And that's the one thing when you're coming up against a team like Australia. Kane Williamson's got an unbelievable record, but he'd want to fix that. You want to, in your career, you want to play good in big moments. For Aussies, you want to play well in Ashes series. You want to do well in World Cups. You just have to look at guys like Haddin and Ponting's record at Boxing Day. They love the big occasion. And Kane Williamson, I'd imagine, would love to put his stamp on a series against Australia. He'd love to dominate with the bat, get New Zealand in positions to win a home series against Australia. So I'd imagine he'll be super keen this test match to rectify that.
I don't want to say anything more on the subject, because if we go down the path of saying Kane Williamson is not as good as his reputation suggests, he will come out and crack 274 in the first innings at Christchurch. So I'm leaving that right there. One thing we do need to point out from an Australian batting point of view, though, Hads, is Marnus. He just runs are hard to come by. That's no lie. He knows that. Just having a look at him, though, it feels like watching him, he's even having trouble. And you always say, if you're going through a tough spell, just get off strike. Just find a way to get off strike and keep the scoreboard ticking over. Marnus, since the start of 2023, his strike rate has not been above 50 on average. 43 in 2023, 47 so far this year, strike rate. The previous period, it was 50 or better, pretty much. One century since the start of 2023, but his two best knocks since the start of 2023, his scoring rate's been pretty good, including a 62 against Pakistan at the SCG when he scored at a strike rate of 84. So what I'm getting at, Hads, is he can do all the preparation, all the thinking he wants. Has he just got to find a way to get the damn himself off strike somehow?
Well, first and foremost, his spot's not under pressure. What he is short of is obviously runs, and there's different reasons why that's happening. Is it technical? Is there things he has to go away, work on? Is it a mindset change? To me, I think it's all mental. I think what he's looking like at the moment, he's just looking to survive. He's just looking to occupy the crease, and all of a sudden the game will start to become easier. But when Marnus played at his best, and this might sound a bit off centre, but you remember when he was leaving the ball and kids all around park cricket do no run there, and he's jumping around the crease. You're thinking, mate, this kid's got some energy. That's what I think he's missing. I actually think he's missing more intent at the crease to score. Watch the ball hard, get in a contest with every ball. Technical wise, he'll go away and he'll work as hard as anyone. I've watched him work in the nets. He'll leave no stone unturned there. But I don't think it's anything to do with technique. I think it's just going out there, showing some intent at the crease and start to impose himself again on the game. I'd give his teammate at Queensland, Matthew Haddin, a call. Mate, the one thing he did really well is impose himself on cricket games. And it wasn't always about technique. It was about finding a way to score runs and get the opposition to doubt their plans here. So he'll work it out. It's a tough time, and every batsman go through it. But as I said at the start, I don't think it's technical. I think it's more of a mindset change.
Yeah, so 100 in the past 37 Test innings. Now, forever and a day in the Australian Test team, even when things were going brilliantly well, like the 16 in a row at the turn of the century, there was always some kind of pressure on one player in the lineup. And now all those guns seem to be pointed to Marnus at the moment. How big a factor are teammates in all of that when there is a bit of outside noise about a player and the viability of his position in the team?
Our teammates are enormous, and their coaching staff and selectors are enormous in this situation as well. Marnus is not under pressure for his spot. There's no he would know that. George Bailey's always been really honest with the players where they stand around selection. So it's just about finding a way for him to get out of this form slump. And as you said, your teammates, mate, they'll be there to support. Yeah, Paddy Cummins come out and said Marnus's position's not in threat. We're backing him. He'll come out of this. But the person in the end that gets it out you out of this is yourself. He'll gather all the information he needs. He'll realise, no, this is not technical. Do I need to show more intent? Am I watching the ball enough? Am I getting into the contest? And he'll go through all that. As I said, his preparation will be spot on. And there'll be a moment, it might be this test match, or he'll come to the wicket, he'll play whether a cover drive, a pull shot, and all of a sudden, everything becomes easy again. And that'll happen. Marnus is too good a player for that not to happen.
Do you reckon his spot's not under pressure because, firstly, there's no one else, or secondly, because his CV reads pretty good and eventually he's going to come good?
I just think it's his CV. He's been outstanding. And good teams, as you said, someone's going through this period. If it's not Marnus, it'll be someone else. And good teams carry you through this period. Your teammates get you through. There'll be a lot of trust in that group, and that's what they created. Paddy's done absolutely outstanding over some time. So, yeah, he'll come out of it. It's a tough time for him now, and he's got to handle all the noise outside, but he'll have his own people he talks to, the ones he's confident in, and things can change really quick. It can be one cover drive, it can be a nice pull shot, then all of a sudden you're away.
In your time in cricket, who was the best amateur psychologist? Who was the best teammate that you saw was really good at, like, taking a player's mind off things, putting an arm around him, I don't know, say let's go for a beer or let's get into the nets, the best bedside manner of a teammate that you saw?
Well, it was the players that you played with at your state, actually, the ones who'd seen you the most. And for me, someone like Michael Clark, it'd come up to you and say, well, why are you changing that? And you go, what do you mean? I don't know. He said, well, you're normally a C ball hit guy. Why are you thinking about this? And you sort of walk away and go, well, hang on a minute. There's sometimes the little things. It might even be a bowler. But it's normally your teammates will just notice something if it is technical. Yeah,
fair enough. Just a bit of news about the Kiwi lineup. Will O'Rourke out of the second test. Wagner not coming back. There was a little rumour going around that he might come back, the shortest retirement in the history of Test cricket, but it's not happening. Uncapped Ben Sears brought into the Kiwi squad. Devon Conway also ruled out. He actually needs thumb surgery after that bad take in the white ball series, out for 8 weeks. So that's a costly... didn't quite take it cleanly down leg side, Hads. You'll think about that take for a while.
Let's leave Conway there for a second. O'Rourke was the best bowler in the test match for New Zealand. He's only 22 years young. He got the ball at times around 142, 144 Ks. Mate, he wasn't intimidated by the Aussies. He used his bouncer well. He got a good length. So, yeah, it's disappointing for the Kiwis that he's out. Conway's a class player. It's disappointing that he's not involved in a series like this. You want to see the best players. But Sears was impressive in the 2020 games. He bowled with good pace. He had good change-ups, which you probably won't see as much in the test match. But he bowled with some good pace.
We're going to have a little breather on Willow Talk. We're going to talk, have a preview of the second test a bit later on in the week, in our second episode of the week. But back in a moment with a bit of talk about state cricket and a special inclusion for a game of over 35s on the weekend. We're going to get into the subject of who would be your nightmare scenario of an opposition player in a game like that. Back in a sec. So, Hads, a fair bit of domestic cricket happening as well over the weekend while you're acquainting yourself or reacquainting yourself with the good country of New Zealand. And the standout performance so far, as we sit here right now, is Tasmania winning its clash with Victoria by 57 runs. There was a lot of hope that it was going to go, an Edgbaston type scenario down to the last couple of balls or whatever, but Will Sutherland got out pretty quickly on day 4, and that was pretty much the end of it. So Tassie, as we don't know exactly, but they're in the box seat to host the final. The Vics fell short. It was nearly a remarkable victory and turnaround, but Tassie, well done to them.
Well done to Jeff Ford and all the Tassie staff down there. Tassie cricket a couple of years ago were in dire straits. They couldn't spell cricket. But the way they're going at the moment, they're playing a really attractive brand of cricket. They're playing for each other. They've got some good fast bowls. They've got some experienced bats. Guys like Bo Webster having breakout seasons. He's got a couple of hundreds. He's got pace down there in Riley Meredith. So, yeah, they've come a long way the last couple of years, so they deserve some credit for whatever they're doing down there. Victoria, the big thing to come out of that game was 2. Nick Madison's got another 100. That's 3 on the bounce.
How has he gone up the rankings?
Well, it'll be interesting because since he's gone to Victoria, he's averaged 50 plus in Test cricket, and I would say if you ask Matto, he'd say I'm a better cricketer now than I was when I played Test cricket. So mate, he's doing everything right. He's at the top of the order. We know he can bat in the middle order as well. So he's starting to put some really, really big numbers up now with 300s in a row. But the concerning thing out of that game is young Will Pucovski again retired hurt after being struck by another bouncer in the head.
Yeah, it was a nasty one. And, I mean, have you seen it, Hats, the actual vision of it? So, technique-wise, talk us through that one because it looked like he followed the ball, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, just to me took his eye off the ball, but I don't know where this is at with Will. It's great to see him back. He got a good 100 the week before against New South Wales, and he said his desire is still to get back and play Test cricket. But yeah, as a lover of the game, mate, you'd love to see what he did last week. He got 100. It's a great story. But as a parent, mate, I wouldn't like to see my son going on and off the field as much as he's. Yeah, speedy recovery and everything's okay.
It's a hold your breath moment, it seems, at the moment with Will Pucovski, every ball he faces, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully he can get through it. The other games are in the balance as we sit here right now. New South Wales and South Australia, deep into day 4, WA, Queensland as well. Ollie Davies, a talking point out of the New South Wales game, Hads. Was fortunate enough to have the pleasure of playing a round of golf with Ollie last week. So I'm taking credit for this 116 out at Cricket Central in the west of Sydney. But it's quite interesting watching him swing a golf club. I'll put it out there. He hits the living shit out of the ball.
Surprise.
His stance over a golf ball is exactly how he faces a cricket ball as well. Like he's got the wide stance and the big range of power that he can impale the ball with. And he did it pretty well in this one. So his red ball cricket is coming along, Ollie.
Yeah, I like his development. I think he started to show a lot this year. He's got his second 100 now, but the first one was under pressure in a tough Shield game. Still, I'm loving what he's doing. Give him a go at number 4. Get him up the order. You got Moses behind him. He's experienced enough to fix what happens in front of him. I just think this kid's a special talent. And I know he's doing well. Everything's going in the right direction. But while you've got an experienced player like Moses, I'd like to see Ollie bat in front of him and just let him play his game. He's scoring runs under pressure. If he doesn't come off, Moses is good enough to fix and bat whatever situation. But he's making all the right noises. And just hope New South Wales can get over the line in this Shield game and compete for a final.
Xavier Bartlett for Queensland. It's good to see him go back to Shield cricket after his little breakout in the white ball stuff for Australia late in the summer. Continue it on. He's got some talent, this guy, and he's improving all the time, it seems. So obviously you look at a bowler like him and you think, geez, he'd be good in English conditions. But that's a long time to wait for another Ashes tour. But at the moment he's taking steps forward, isn't he?
Well, there's 2 things that I took out of this game, and Xavier Bartlett and Josh Inglis. Firstly, Bartlett, he got his taste this year. He got the opportunity to play for Australia. We got a really close look at him. He swings the ball. He was outstanding when he got his opportunities. But what I like then is they go back to state cricket and they dominate. That's what you want your fringe players doing. You want to give them a taste of the Australian team and say, how fun's this? Here's all the perks that come with playing for Australia. Just give them a little bit of that carrot. Then you want him to go back and dominate state cricket. And that's what he's done. He's got 5 for 64, his career best figures. Josh Inglis just continues to go from strength to strength. Since he's won that World Cup, I think his game's gone to another level. He's confident in everything he does now. He can play different roles with the bat. We've seen him open at times and do well. And this is a really weird thing maybe for you to hear. I think this is his best form.
Yeah.
I think the 4-day form or Test cricket is his best form. He's got a bit of time to wait. He's got Alex Carey there he's doing a great job behind the stumps. But I think Josh Inglis's best form is Test cricket.
Okay, we'll wait and see on that one. You look at Alex Carey and you go, okay, he's the number one keeper, and he took a couple of great catches in the Test match just gone. But you think, well, who's second in line? And for you, it's clearly Josh Inglis at the moment.
Well, Alex Carey's going nowhere.
Yeah.
His game's been outstanding. But what I like is someone like Josh Inglis is saying to the rest of the pack, well, if anything happens, I'm next picked. Yeah. I'm the phone call that's going to be made. He's going back and he's getting hundreds. Got 136 not out in this Shield game at number 6 or 7, I think he was, playing a normal keeper's innings. So he's just doing everything to say, I'm the next pick. And I love that from fringe players. I love when they go back and dominate their states.
Just one thing you said there about Xavier Bartlett when we're talking about him, you said, that you enjoyed the perks of being in the national setup in the Australian team. What's the best perk?
Business class.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's always good it's always good to turn left.
Yeah. It is a nice feeling knowing that you're going to get a pair of pajamas for your flight. Fantastic.
Well, it's a bit different for you. You turn left, then go up straight to first class. So we don't know what that's like. But the perks of playing for Australia is like the different things about being around the three fast bowlers we've got there now. He would have learnt from them. You don't get that back at state cricket. But I just love when they come back to state cricket, they dominate to show, yep, this is why I got picked for Australia. And when I come back to state cricket, I'm going to dominate and show you.
Risers and fallers time. Hads. Mitch Johnson.
I'm first.
Oh, no, you go
I'm
first. Okay, I'll go second then with Mitch Johnson. Go first.
Mate,
Hads, go.
I've been trying to get this faller. I just witnessed today in a year 5, year 6 cricket game, a man cat.
What?
A man cat.
What? Why, Cad? Why is this a riser? Why isn't it a faller?
It's a faller.
Oh, it's a faller.
It is a faller.
Yeah, it's a faller.
Mate, I couldn't keep it anymore. The parents cheered. The teachers were happy to let the kid go off.
Mm.
I sit by myself away from cricket games and watch with my coffee. And it was the first time ever I wanted to call the game in and say, guys, you don't play this way. I want to put this into context. And I believe that if there's going to be a dismissal like this, it has to come after you've got to give the batter some kind of warning if you're the bowler. It's like, do it again and I will whip the bails off. Was there any of that? No, it was year 6s.
No, but like he didn't roll in and go, and then try it once or say he's out of his crease and it was just out of nowhere, bang. See you later.
I don't give a shit about any of that. I can't believe you're thinking about a dismissal like that at that age.
Yeah. Did you say anything?
Anyway, only to myself.
Yeah. Disappointing.
Couldn't believe it. Disappointing. Yeah.
Are we? Hang on. Are we rolling out it's un-Australian?
I thought
whatever
it was.
The hell that means.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
Okay. Fair enough. A faller. So we start with a faller.
I might be an old fart, but I know it's coming into the rules, but I didn't like it. I didn't like that push on. I've got it off my chest now. I can sleep.
Well done. Riser then. Let's get back to positivity, Bradley. Mitch Johnson rocks up. Local game in Perth over the weekend. Over 35s. Now, happily for the opposition, he only bowled off spin, which still could have been coming through at a decent rate. Would have been your loopy usual ones that you cop in over 35s from the tweaker. However, Hads, it evoked this question from my mind. Who would be your nightmare scenario if you rocked up to just a gentle, Sunday Arvo over 35s game? You go, oh no, he's playing. What?
Mitch Johnson.
Oh, Mitch Johnson.
Well, I tell you why though, Adam. Mitch is still an unbelievable athlete. He's still right into his fitness. I think he's
MMA.
His MMA fighting now. But
dojo.
Out of all the fast bowlers I used to play with, needed their run up to get rhythm and get their power through the crease and get their pace. Mitch only needed 2 steps.
Yeah.
So we used to laugh when he'd warm up off 2 steps and Ryan Harris would be off his long run, Sid's would be off his long run. Mitch would be the quickest. of 2 steps when he warmed up. So I'd be nervous turning up if I seen Mitch Johnson. The other one was playing in those veteran leagues that were around for a while. Tino Best for the West Indies.
Yeah.
Still bowled around 140 Ks.
In Veterans League cricket.
Yeah.
When you're there just for a good time and a social hit, pretty much, and get paid for it.
Yeah. We didn't enjoy that.
140 Ks. Did he enjoy it?
Yep. Well, he did because, mate, it was hard to hit us. We were moving target. You only had to get on the stumps. But, yeah, Mitchell Johnson would be one of the worst, actually, because you talk about if a spinner turned up, if Murali turned up, it'd be, that'd be great fun because you can't get hurt. In the back of your mind, Mitchell could hurt you. You could break an arm or break a rib. No, Mitchell Johnson would be the worst.
Stuart Clark's still rolling around in 4th grade in the Sydney grade competition, which I think's a little unfair. He's playing with his son, so it's a wonderful family moment for him. But I can't imagine that's too enjoyable, rocking up and seeing, through hazy eyes maybe, no offence to 4th graders, but maybe they're rocking up on a Saturday morning not totally with it, and then they got Stuart Clark to deal with, who, as you say, Hads, nothing more that Stuart Clark enjoys more than what?
The best bouncer I ever played with. He had the best. He hit more people in the shoulder, in the helmet than anyone I've ever played with. But I'm the other way. I love it that one Sarfraz gets to play with his son Lachlan. That's a great experience. I'd love one day just to have one game with both my boys. But to have someone like Stuart Clark who loves the game, loves nothing more than talking about the game. Been on the field to talk to the kids, turning up. Mate, you got to look at it the other way. It would be exciting for the kids. The only thing I can say about Stuart Clark is he'll always have that one bouncer up his sleeve. So kids, be careful.
Exactly. I actually want to see Hads in the same team as one or both of his boys and see if they try the man-cad and see what Dad does if that happens.
And not that stupid.
One more riser I've got anyway. I don't know what you got left up your sleeve, Hads, but our co-host, who's been a little busy over the last couple of months and hasn't been in the studio as much as we'd love her to be here, but Elisa Healy doing her best Andrew Simons impression on Streaker in the WPL, laying a tackle. Great to see. Fantastic to see.
Well, she's multi-talented. We know that. She's an outstanding captain. She captains Willow Talk. And if any rugby league teams, the Women Rugby League, are looking for number 7, you got your chirpy halfback there.
Didn't realise she was a frustrated footy player, but there we are. There we are. Hads, that's us for the week. For this episode, I should say. You good? No more risers and fallers? What about a riser about how you were treated by the crowd over there in New Zealand? Beautifully?
I was accepted.
Yes?
No, they were really good. They were encouraging, actually. They got a bit boisterous on the last day when there was a few bucks parties there, but I won them over.
Yep.
All good.
Well done. Well done. Well, you've got Christchurch to come, but before that, we've got another episode of Willow Talk this week. So thank you for that, Hads. Have a good couple of days. We'll reconvene.
Can't wait.
There was Willow Talk for today. Yeah, we're back later in the week. We're going to have a full preview of the second test and talk everything that's going on in the world of cricket. Take it easy. Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.